Hi, this is MXUX. I just want to go over, been looking into this, let me just reference this. This is the March 18 S1 form from Ride. And I'm trying to do some analysis on the Endurance, the number one product of Ride. And this is the 2023 Endurance. So this is a new this is a new Lordstown Motors. This is a new Endurance. I believe these are Hightower's remarks, the president. Um, uh, just a couple things. We got Endurance proprietary software. Based on our current estimates, we expect the Endurance to achieve 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds, towing of 8,000 pounds, payload of 1,200 pounds, and a curb weight of 63, gross weight, produce 550 horsepower. Now, we got about like a 600-pound weight gain, according to the drop in capacity. There's a slight drop in horsepower from 600 to 550. So that's 13 horsepower per hub motor. Also, we have deliver a targeted range of 200 miles per charge. This number was higher previously. I believe it was 75 miles per gallon equivalent. And this was 250 miles plus. This goes back to the OG specification of the original Endurance, which was just mentioned as more than 200 miles. Now, actual vehicle performance and specifications will vary. Okay, so ongoing vehicle testing and engineering management estimates. So this is, I don't know if this is final to be determined, but this is what they're coming out with. Are they sandbagging? I don't know. But these are some pretty big changes. Not necessarily, I mean, you always want more range, but, for a fleet truck, they may not need more than 200 miles of range. And I know as an individual, I would not need more than 200 miles per range, which usable range would probably be 100. That gets the usual range down to like, certainly sub 200. However, the hub motors produce 30% more regen power than a regular vehicle. So, how that comes into play on the range figures, again, this is the number they're putting out. Everything says subject to change in the printed material elsewhere. So, anyway, let's just move forward here. So there evidently is two changes, weight and drivetrain. So, we got the price of $63,500, including our standard option package. Now, I have a video coming out shortly, if it's not out already at the time this goes out. There is a killer consumer version of this truck. It's fully featured. It's got the cameras, the backup camera, the bed camera, all the lighting, the puddle lights, MP3 player, Bluetooth, carpeting, all this stuff. Wow. And well, you watched the video for that. For that price, it's very competitive with the Ford. Now, the range number is questionable, but anyway, I'm going to go over performance a little later here. Okay, total cost of ownership. So they're talking here about the fewer parts and so forth, maintenance. I think it is a killer fleet vehicle. I think everybody knows that. Now, this is very interesting. We have entered into supply and licensing agreements with Alafe to produce the initial batch of required hub motors. So this may be the reason for the change in mileage, perhaps weight. I'm not sure because Lordstown had injured a secret sauce kind of motor. That's one of the things about these motors is you can really dial in a lot of parameters on them, the way you manufacture them. And, is Alafe, who created the motor, are they making, Lordstown secret sauce, or are they making, the generic hub motors? Again, this could explain part of the difference in range as well. But this is a real grabber here. They intend to manufacture wheel motors at Lordstown. Yeah, this is part of their fitting out of the plant. Now, they've always decided to do that. They have the line up and running now and so forth, but they're evidently not ready to go into mass production, or they want to expand the capacity. Contract manufacturing with Foxxconn. Foxxconn would operate these hub motor production assets on our behalf. So this is something that I was not aware of. This could imply a lot of different things. I had initially thought that Lordstown was going to make the hub motors and supply them to Foxconn to assemble onto the vehicle, and it would just be another part in the bill of materials, which Foxconn would then gather in. But now we're saying Foxconn is going to make these motors at Lordstown. I mean, let me just speculate, and this is pure speculation. The Foxconn MIH platform has a front and rear casting. I'm sure they can implement a structural battery pack. It's not an issue. Now, right now, they have inboard electric motors, front and rear, along with the connecting axles, half shafts, gearing, CV joints, and everything else that's involved in putting that in place. Now, if Foxconn is making these hub motors, and the idea is to have Lordstown design the new MIH cars, 2 vehicles coming out. The question is, is this part of the deal? Because the CEO of Foxconn has said he did like the one thing specifically I remember from one of his presentations, the manufacturability of the hub motors, how they work on an assembly line, how they simplify the manufacturing process. Now Foxconn is expected to make the hub motors. Does this imply that the MAH products that are going to come out through the Lordstown design would implement hub motors? That's a pretty exciting development. Maybe this is the rub. Down here we have many systems that will enable the use of in-hub motors, such as the software, will interact and direct each of the 4 motors as well as the independent front suspension, are proprietary to us. So, in other words, everything that Foxconn would need to implement hub motors in the MIH platform in the two vehicles that are planned are proprietary to Lordstown. So, I think, this is definitely something to think about. I have no information on this. This is just my own conjecture after going through all of this information, because I'm trying to figure out what this 2023 Endurance black box is and what these changes mean. This could be massive if, now, Lordstown has the North American rights to these hub motors. If Foxconn wants to build a vehicle with the MIH platform and they want to release these two vehicles in the United States, and Lordstown says they can engineer these vehicles in 24 months, that means they're going to use the front and rear castings on the MIH, the structural battery pack, and then the hub motors, the suspension, and the software to run everything is going to be Lordstown Motors. And this is the engineering that, this is the rub. This is the secret sauce that Lordstown is supplying, along with the distribution rights. I think this is pretty exciting. Anyway, I don't know if that's the case. I'm just going over this information with everybody else here. Let me know in the comments what you think. I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to move forward here. Now, what we have is a 0.5 kilowatt hour per mile the use of the hub motors, and that's 65 miles per gallon based on the now again, someone in the comments can talk about this. I have not. It's a Gordian knot going through all this kilowatt stuff, and I don't have the time to get to it right now. But the point is, I'm going to go in a minute. I'm going to talk about this. This 0.5 kilowatt hour and the 65. This is a drop, okay? So we have to try to explain that. Again, proprietary powertrain controller software and algorithms to performance using instantaneous torque control. So Lordstown has the rights, the internet, the rights to for North America, I believe, for the hub motor. It has the internet, all the IP to actually implement them in a production vehicle. And the CEO of Foxconn has said he likes the manufacturability of the hub motors. Says here they expect Foxconn to operate the hub motor manufacturing line. Does this whole thing come together and imply that Lordstown is going to design two vehicles using the MIH platform that's going to have Lordstown suspension and drivetrain in it, and they're going to supply the skateboard? This is something to think about. I had thought that these were totally separate entities, but this might be what's going on. Anyway, I want to talk about this MPG and 0.5 kilowatt hour, and also the weight gain here in the next segment of this video. But just want to say, if they go with the MIH, if they get hub motors and they go to mass production of the hub motors and get the cost, because the hub motors right now are slightly more expensive than a regular motor, electric motor, but with mass production, those costs can go down. And of course, when you look at the overall cost of installing a hub motor versus a regular motor, it's so much less expensive. Um, this could be a breakthrough for the MIH platform, but this is conjecture on my part. I don't know if this is true, but certainly I think it's something to think about. All right, let me move on to the next section here and talk a little bit about this MPGE, about the weight, and about these drive systems. All right, this is MXUX. I'm going through this second. This is the second instance of this, the 2023 Endurance, trying to figure out what this 23 Endurance. Now, we have a weight gain of 600 or 700 pounds in the Endurance. And I was going through, I believe Larry Kumar's in the comments. Larry's very, very up on the Endurance specs and so forth. And he speculated that there may be a heat pump involved, an upgrade to a heat pump in the Endurance based on the cold weather testing video that was out. Now, I'm trying to explain this weight gain. The hitch, the trailer hitch on the Endurance was an option. Now, if you look at the Ford Lightning, the hitch is part of a towing package, and it includes extra cooling facilities for the battery and so forth because of the high output of energy with towing. And, the Endurance upgraded its towing capacity. So adding the weight of the hitch and a heat pump, this is, I'm estimating this, and I'll show you those figures in a second, at about 302 pounds. This is like an average figure here. That's about half of what we're looking for. So we have interior and exterior finished parts. There's a lot of panels I noticed under the hood and everything that kind of finish out all the. I don't know how much these would weigh, but we have that. We have the airbag systems. All of these. There's extensive airbags. There's front and rear side head airbags in the Endurance. There's front facing in the front seat airbags in the Endurance, and there's the window shield airbags in the Endurance as well. So there's a lot of safety equipment in the Endurance. Okay. I don't know how much weight that would add, but would add some weight. There's also the addition of a lot of electronics that perhaps weren't in the original Endurance. And these include, a backup camera, bed camera, puddle lights, other lighting, bed lighting, so forth. And it's not just these components, but also the wiring harnesses that are in place to run, to provide power to these, however many feet of wire that is, that has weight as well. And also the possibility that this first run is going to use Elafe produced hub motors, which again, I do believe that that Lordstown Motors had a secret sauce configuration of the hub motors that they are going to manufacture. Is Elafe, providing that, or is Elafe just putting out the generic 1560 or whatever the model number of the hub motors are. That could also explain some of the weight gain, but we still need about 400 pounds more. Perhaps extra coolant for the hitch and so forth, and the heat pump I think would explain a lot of it. It's hard to know what the weight gain's all about, but let me just go through this. This is a commercial hitch. This looks a lot like the hitch that's on the Endurance, and this is 100 pounds. Now, are there other suspension components that go along with this? Probably. There. I don't know, but part of a towing package could involve more than this. Certainly, adjustments to the springs or leaf springs and so forth. But of course, the Endurance does have a solid rear axle, so this is going to be a superior towing experience than with all this hooey that Ford's thrown out with their special towing stability and blah blah blah. According to Sandy Monroe, you can only the only way to go with towing is a solid rear axle. See my video on Sandy Monroe. Anyway, and I've got this weight figure on the heat pump. From here, I took the average of residential heat pumps because there's not a lot of information on BV heat pumps, but I think it's a rough approximation. So we still got a cat's running around. Anyway, we still have a lot of weight to account for here. Extra coolant. If we do have an air heat pump, you're going to have more coolant overall in the vehicle. And I noticed that they have a preconditioning option now on the 2023 Endurance that wasn't on there before. Would that imply a heat pump as well? Anyway, if you look at a heat pump, I mean, and the towing package together, all the extra cooling components that could account for a lot of this weight. Anyway, and again, well, that's my estimate there. And then now we talked about the kilowatt hours per mile. 0.5 kilowatt miles per hour. I'm not so sure how they're calculating this, but it's not that great. We're right up there with the Porsches. These are the electric Porsches, and this is like the top of the line electric Porsche right here. And so we're getting the same efficiency as the Turbo S. Now, this is using inboard electric motors with all the associated parts and everything, and it has a much larger battery, and it has gearing. I believe it's got a 2-speed gearbox in it. And again, the hub motors do provide 30% more regenerative braking. Is the regenerative braking going to be what's going to help, what's going to bring up the mileage figures on the Endurance, or is it sandbagging, or is it just, I don't know. But anyway, let's just take a look at this. We're going to come back to this in a second. And just, this is 0.87 was the UPS electric, U.S. Postal Service electric Ford years ago. Anyway, the Endurance van would certainly be better than that. Now, the electric car with the best kilowatt miles per hour is a Tesla Model 3, 2020. These are old figures. 24. So 100 miles per kilo, so the point is the Endurance is half as effective as the Tesla Model 3. Of course, it's a pickup truck. The aerodynamics are different. The purpose is different. the towing capacity is different. Everything's different. Now, we're going to go over the Ford Lightning here really as a comparison. By the way, the Ford Lightning Pro, which is their 40K model, which I believe they're going to lose money on, there's going to be 1,000 made, period. And that is 2022 production. Okay. So, how many of those are going to go to fleet customers, and how many of those are going to go to, civilians? If they split it down the middle, that's 500 to fleets, 500 to civilians. It's the same production as the Endurance. I think the odds of, I don't know, these are going to be bought and resold, and the pricing on this is going to go through the roof, I believe. With the Lordstown distributing strictly to fleets, their price I think it's going to be, the price control is going to be better, and it's going to be, I don't think their numbers are going to hold up at Ford as far as the price goes. Now, they have a 131 kilowatt extended range battery pack here, and that's, that's, 27, 28 kilowatts more. That's another 50 miles in practical range. But that's the extended range battery pack. Will have 320 miles of range. The Lariat and fleet only Pro trim, according to Ford. Okay, but that is, again, with a much bigger battery than the Endurance has. That's better than up to 300 miles Ford discussed with the Lightning in 2021. That range shrinks to 230 miles with the 98 kilowatt standard range battery pack. So, they're looking at 230 miles with a smaller battery pack. So, going by these figures, and I believe they leaked these. I don't know, are these, it's so hard to tell what these, are they going to revise them? I don't know. But we got 107 and 200 miles. So we've got a 10 kilowatt larger battery in the standard Endurance, and 30 miles less range. So it's, I don't know. This is a puzzlement. Are they sandbagging the range? I don't know. But I think this 1K max production says everything. Either the fleets aren't going to get any of these, or the consumers aren't going to get any of these. If they're only making 1,000 of them, you can bet the price is going to go up anyway. So I just wanted to go through that. Now, I just want to talk about this, though. This, and I'm going to go through a little segment here in a minute on this. This is the Porsche Torque Vectoring Plus. Okay. This is what we're going to go over. What Lordstown has developed here, and this is a heck of a truck. Lordstown has developed independently of Porsche an equivalent drivetrain. Okay. And I'm sure it's going to have the equivalent performance as this top of the line Porsche, and it's getting the same efficiency as this top of the line Porsche, and I think that says a lot. So this is going to be a sleeper of a truck. You got to realize the 5.5 0 to 60 time I quoted in the last segment, that's governed performance for a fleet. Okay, this is going to be, I've got a video coming out. This is a sleeper of a consumer truck. I mean, this is going to beat the pants off the Ford Lariat or whatever the model number is, price-wise and performance-wise. I think the only difference really is the Ford has power seats in it. That's the only difference. But I just want that's my take here. So there's some puzzlement here on this range thing, but I just wanted to go over all this possible weight hacks and possible heat pump, which would be a very big improvement. I think right now we have to take the LFP batteries off the table. There's absolutely no evidence other than the interest of the Goshen in Lordstown with the LFP batteries. Okay. Anyway, the point is, let's talk about this Taikon and Torque Vectoring Plus, which seems to be the same system Lordstown Motors has developed independently. And, let's talk about the MIH vehicles. If they come out with a sports car using the Lordstown Motor hub motor design with their torque vectoring, and they take the governor off it, if they have a sports car model that's designed by Lordstown Motors with the Lordstown Motors drivetrain in it, it's gonna be a competitor to this performance-wise to this Taikon Turbo S. In my opinion, anyway. And just think about the cost difference. I don't know. It could be a category killer. Anyway, I just want to go through a quick look at this torque vectoring. Okay. Next section. Now, this is the Taikon Turbo S. And as we said, the kilowatt hour, use is the same. It's got the same mileage as the Endurance. And again, about approximately half 0 to 60, but without the governor on it, would the Endurance meet this spec? I don't know. Horsepower is 616. The horsepower on the Endurance would be 600, right? Torque is a little higher on the Taikon. But we have down here performance, and again, we have Porsche Torque Vectoring Plus. So, I just wanted to go over that. And oddly, comparing the Endurance pickup truck to the Porsche, very similar. Okay, so this is a explanation from Porsche about their torque vectoring system. And I want you to listen to this. The Lordstown Endurance hub motor system is actually, in my opinion, not an engineer, more advanced. Listen to these. Listen to what this Porsche guy is saying, and he's talking in German, so you know it's right. Anyway, he's talking about applying brakes and using the differential. All these, vestigial things that aren't relevant to the Endurance drivetrain, whereas the Endurance, and I'm going to show a clip on the Endurance system in a minute, is using purely digital electronic control at the wheel and not transferring, through the movement of mechanical parts, better performance than the Porsche. The Porsche is going through braking and differential. So just listen to this. And I'm going to see if I can find another example, but listen closely.
PTV Plus, the Porsche torque vectoring system, functions both when driving into and out of a bend. The inside rear wheel is braked slightly when turning into the corner. This means somewhat more drive.
Braked slightly. The Lordstown Endurance is adjusting the braking and acceleration of each wheel every millisecond. And this Porsche system sounds trivial compared to it. Let's just go through this.
Torque is sent to the outside wheel, giving the vehicle a slight angular momentum so that it can be steered in the bend more easily. When emerging from the bend, the electronic rear differential lock comes into play.
Rear differential lock. This is so yesterday. This is like an old yellow, dried up yellow calendar. Porsche's technology compared to the Endurance. What differential?
for greater agility that delivers a significant boost when accelerating out of the bend.
Now, for those of you not familiar with the Lordstown Endurance hub motor system we're talking about here, this is a video Alafe and Lordstown put out about the hub motor. This is the hub. That is the rotor. That other part back there, this is the bearing. That is the stator. There is the chassis with the suspension. So that's how a hub motor works. That's how it's put together. And I want to show you, this is the concept of torque vectoring that I'm talking about. Let's just slow this down. 0.25. Let this play a second. Now there's the four wheels, and the blue is going for, well, let's just play this. So you can see here how it moves from braking to acceleration on each wheel. Okay, as you can see here, in milliseconds, every millisecond, it's switched between propulsion and regeneration for each wheel, depending on where you're driving. And this is some other, we can speed this back up to normal for the rest of this, just so you can see it. Maybe we'll go 125. This is just a hub motor going through various testing stages. And again, there's the chassis of the Endurance, or at least the 2021 or 2021 Endurance. There's the custom suspension, and that is a test vehicle there. Anyway, there again is a suspension with the hub motors. This is for people who have not seen this, and I wanted to give you an idea of the torque vectoring. And now they say that this motor configuration produces 30% more regen than a regular inboard electric motor. So we're all scratching our heads over this 200-mile range quote. Anyway, until we get word from the company, we don't know. All right, I thought you guys might be interested in that, people that didn't know about Lordstown. Okay, this is one of the recent videos out from Lordstown. Just recently, this came out as to the date of this video I'm making here. And this is Darren Post talking about winter testing of the Endurance, which they've already done. So they're retesting it. Is the heat pump thing coming into play? I don't know. Let's just play this. I just want to show you the stability control and the how advanced this truck is as far as the propulsion system goes. Performance-wise, the manufacturability of the hub motor system and the performance of the hub motor system, I think this technology is great. Let's just watch this video here.
We're at Baudette, Minnesota, and we are doing winter testing for the Endurance pickup truck. The hub motors performs extremely well because it has this instantaneous ability to track and turning, to track forward. It provides a stability going forward that the other.
And I've shown in the past, the Alafe has run these hub motors on ice lake. This is ice here. I mean, they're doing ovals on ice, and this truck, I mean, the Alafe motors can handle it, and as the Endurance can. As you can see, this is ice here.
The other vehicles don't have. The hub motors don't have all the drive shafts and transfer cases like a traditional pickup four-wheel drive. That also enhances its maneuverability during hill climbs or whether you're doing turns on the snow or ice. As they accelerate, that they get a very smooth and predictable behavior for turning, and for braking, that they're getting very straight.
And so, again, the performance, the torque vectoring in curves and handling, you know, at, I hate to say this, guys, at high speed for a sleeper truck. I mean, this is F1 technology in a pickup truck. This is like a Raptor, 550 horsepower. Take the governor off, torque F1 torque vectoring. I mean, this is a sleeper of a truck. I got a video coming out on this. Anyway, watch this braking. This is a good demonstration of, the performance of these hub motors and this IP they have, this torque vectoring IP, which, seems to be better than, I don't know, I'm going to say it's better than Porsche. What do I know? But anyway.
Great braking, and that they have predictability and can control the car while braking as well. And that's really what we want the customer to have.
Can you see that? Did you see that braking? Let me just play that for a second again.
Customer to have. You want the customer to car while braking as well. And that's ability and can control the car while braking as well.
See how
and that's really what we want the customer to have.
That's on ice. Okay, totally predictable braking. Anyway, forget the ice. What if you're, on a road race track or something? Anyway, that's my take. Okay, I just wanted to play this video real quick and notice the stuff on the windshield. One of my viewers, subscribers, had mentioned this is involving a heat pump, but also the performance. This is Hightower, who I think is doing a great job representing the company. And let's just take a look at this video.
Baudette, Minnesota, for extreme cold weather temperature testing of the Endurance. These tests are important because our vehicle has to perform for our customers that rely on it and depend on it for work. They have to perform on low friction surfaces like ice and snow, and we want to ensure that the vehicles that we deliver to our customers will meet and exceed their expectations. When we do these tests, we often have an expectation on how the vehicle...
I don't know what all this stuff is up here. I have no idea. If they're looking at, if these are zones marked out for the effectiveness of the defroster, or I have no idea. Maybe somebody can tell me in the comments what the heck that's all about. As I said, one of my viewers said that this involves a heat pump application. I don't know if that's correct or not. It's pure speculation. Great looking truck though.
Will perform because we've done a lot of simulations through our computer-aided engineering. But one of the things that has surprised me as we've done this testing here in Baudette on these low traction situations is how well the Endurance has performed. Because it is an Endurance with our in-wheel hub motors, you will have superior handling and superior maneuverability.
And again, that's on snow. How about a road race track? How about an MIH platform high performance vehicle? Or a consumer model Endurance that's a Raptor, a Raptor beater. I mean, there's a lot of potential here. I just wanted to give a shout out here. This is a YouTube creator connecting the dots right here that I subscribe to. He's got a great video here. This is part 2. There's also part 1. How GM sold America. Part 2. GM's secret plan to import almost all of its cars and EVs from China. And I would encourage everybody to take a look. This is kind of a postscript. Take a look at this video and part 1 as well. And I think you'll get an idea of why GM sold its stake in Lordstown Motors, and maybe the timing of why that happened when it did.